Hello, everyone. I've gotten a few comments asking about Chalet and how it plays different in Pro League versus Ranked. For those of you who don't watch Pro League, I'll start by saying it's pretty different than how you would play it in Ranked, mainly with which sites are chosen. To start, the basement objective is almost never played, and when it is, it loses most, if not all of the time. The other three objectives are all pretty good, though. The usual first or best pick is Bar Games, and then the upstairs Master Office site is second, and then Kitchen and Dining being behind that. Some regions pick a little differently, but those are generally the three sites that are defended the most. This dates back to before the Chalet rework. Prior to the map being reworked almost 6 years ago, the best sites were top floor and basement. Since the rework, it pretty much flipped. Normally, the best strategies from Pro League will trickle down into ranked at some point, but it doesn't seem like this has happened. I mean, in most of the ranked games I played, the only time bar or kitchen are picked is because defense has already won the previous two rounds. The reason I believe nobody plays these sites is because to really expose how good they are and how bad the basement is, it requires a good amount of teamwork. I would say a minimum of 3 to 4 capable teammates can easily run a map like Chalet, but let's be honest, ranked is mostly solo queue, so that's probably not going to happen. But I will go over what makes the first floor site so good and why the basement site is not so good. Let's actually talk about the basement first, then go upstairs. I think to understand what makes a site good, you need to know what makes it bad, or at least how many weaknesses it has. Generally, every site in the game suffers from some amount of weaknesses, and the more defender-sided sites in the game have less weaknesses. A weakness would be something like many entrances, lines of sight into the objective from outside, top-down verticality, weak power or bad safe positions, inability to extend horizontally or vertically, and easy cutoff spots. These isn't every type of weakness, but these are the biggest ones. Chalet Basement has all of these things, but the strong verticality, especially combined with the walls that you can open up into site, pretty much make this site unplayable at a pro level. So, on a site like Chalet Basement, the objective itself has one, two, three hard walls that look into sight, two hatches that look into sight, one, two, three, four, and five ways to get into the objective. It also has awful vertical play. Pretty much the entire objective here is susceptible to vertical play. That's all vertical play right there. Easy cutoff spots makes it hard to extend anywhere. You can't extend upstairs because there's 100 windows upstairs that'll cut you off. You can't extend into car garage because you put someone right here and they cut off you coming back. You can't extend into elbow because one person opening the hatch is going to make it impossible to come back. It's pretty much just an impossible site to play if the attackers know what they're doing. It has every single weakness that you don't want to deal with packed into one. In Pro League, whenever teams play a site that is not the top floor, attackers usually clear the floor above and work their way down. The same would go for this attack. Clear second floor, clear first floor, squeeze defenders in the objective. Regardless of which site you attack, this is usually how the attack would go. But on this site, it's pretty different and it gives the attackers a lot more time. There's two kinds of attacks, and I'll go over both of them. First is the snowmobile garage side. You want to open the wall, smoke the walkways, and plant right here. Of course, there's counters to this, but attackers have to put in little effort to stop those counters. If someone tries to come through the smoke, you can just shoot them, put someone on garage stairs, put someone on blue stairs, open this hatch, play any amount of vertical, and it's pretty much impossible for the defenders to do anything. The other attack towards wine pretty much plays the same, except you need a bit more map clear. All you have to do is open the elbow wall, open the long wall, maybe get the hatch, and run an implant right here. This gives attackers easy lines of sight and allows for honestly an easier plant than going snowmobile side. The only difference here is you actually have to enter the building. None of these strats are hard to pull off at all, and I imagine this is what happens in most ranked games. Those are just the basic ideas for that site. Combine that with pressure from multiple entrances, insane vertical play, and maybe one power position in blue that the defenders can play, and you have a recipe for a pretty bad site. The reason this site works in ranked is because most ranked players are not coordinated enough to really attack like that. The other objectives on Chalet have their weaknesses, just not that many, which is why pros play them more. They're easier to hold, they have better rotations and crossfires, and in general, they just allow for more strategy on the defense. Bar Games, for example, allows for an extension into Library and Mez. Right here, these two players. If played correctly, the attackers have a pretty hard time attacking. I don't want to go into too much detail explaining exact setups since I'll make a video on site setups for Chalet at some point, but the general idea is that you have a player in library contesting the library windows, a player in mezzanine contesting K9, fireplace, and piano, and a player on the library stairs contesting library, piano, and assisting with whatever else the two guys upstairs need. You also have a player in bar, obviously anchoring in sight, making sure no one just runs in. And the last player can kind of do whatever, either anchor in sight or roam around like a pulse in kitchen. Generally, this setup is strong since it holds down many entrances with crossfires. The reason it struggles in ranked, though, is because that takes a lot of coordination. The same ideas apply to defending kitchen. Play the top floor and play crossfires with your team. Here's a round from the North American kickoff between M80 and Wildcard. M80 is defending the bar game site and has 3 defenders playing top floor contesting it. One person anchoring in sight and the other person anchoring kind of close to sight, but not directly in the sight. Sometimes when attackers see this, honestly, they don't even want to bother clearing the top floor and would rather just jump into this window. And that's what Wildcard tries to do. I mean, look at this defense setup in library. You have this wall reinforced, rotates everywhere. There's a mirror right here, hatch is open. You have someone playing on the stairs over here, in this hallway, on this hard wall. I mean, it's just a pain in the butt to try to clear. So attackers sometimes just try to jump in this window, and it doesn't usually work out very well for them. This round, M80 won it pretty convincingly. Here's another round from that same exact game where Wildcard is now on defense. You can see they're playing 1, 2, 3 people upstairs, 1 person anchoring in sight, and the last one playing here in fireplace. Again, attackers see this, and it's just not, sometimes it's not even worth going for the clear, and they opt to just jump in this window and plant. If the defenders don't have the correct setup to deal with that right away, it can work for the attackers. You can see here, Lion, Zoph, Capitao, Blitz, and Roara. This is pretty much, if I saw this, my immediate thought is they're going to try to jump in that window and plant. And that's what they end up doing, and they actually win the round with it. One thing to remember as well is that Chalet is an attacker-sided map. Pros are going to take all the advantages they can get. So while bar games might look like it'd be pretty easy to attack given that attackers can just jump in a window and plant, it's a lot better than the downstairs objective. With that being said, let's look at some basement defenses that failed. And just to let you know, these aren't cherry-picked. Teams don't play down here. In NA, the site was played 4 times, and in EU, it wasn't even played at all, at least in the kickoffs. I want you to just watch something in the background right now. This is an attack between Outlast and SSG in the kickoff. SSG is attacking, and they've already opened the long wall, and right now they're opening the trench wall. Keep in mind, SSG is at a man disadvantage right now. They got a spawn peek off on them, and raid on their striker just died early off into the round. They're able to open this wall, walk in, and plant pretty easily because the 2 walls that they opened cut off that entire objective, and they can have a safe plant. Also, Outlast is a pretty bad team considering they're NA, and they kind of just throw the round. But these 2 walls open from pretty much barely any map control. You're able to just cut off the entire objective and easily get the plant down, which, as you can see, is exactly what happened. So, to wrap it up, the basement site isn't that good because it has so many exposable weaknesses that the defenders can't do much about, so they opt for pretty much every other site. Again, keep in mind, it's an attacker-sided map, so most of the time the attackers will win anyways, but the idea remains. Pro League teams don't play the basement. At some point, I'll make a video breakdown on how to defend the sites on this map, and that'll probably include the basement too, so keep an eye out for that. I hope you learned something new, and this is also my first Pro League breakdown style video, so bear with me as I'm still learning how to best exemplify what I'm trying to say. Thank you for your time.